whatever we cover is like, we covered the SDLC so far, and then we had started on the STLC part. The two sections only on the STLC we had discussion. At the same time, before even SDLC, I had explained you the role in IT, whatever the roles we have, what will be the responsibilities as a QA, what we are going to do, okay, everything. So let me know if you have any question on the sessions what we had before, so that we can continue on that. And I'm going to revise this again, the SDLC, because here I'm going to use this again, SDLC phases in my today's discussion also. So as per our discussion, the SDLC is something like, we have certain phases there, like we have the requirement analysis phase, where we are going to do the requirement analysis, requirement gathering, planning and everything. And after that actually will come as a system design or the design, and then will come as a coding, then testing, and then it will go for the deployment. If you have any question on that, anybody, let me know on these phases. Even I was asking like to provide some of the activity that we are going to perform in each and every phase, not just in the one phase, but each and every phase. Like here, if you just say like here's a major activity we have during the requirement analysis, we have to do the requirement like gathering and analysis, like what requirement we are going to deploy, what is the in scope for us for this phase release, like that. And then design will be like, something how the system will look like. The test architect is going to overall design the application even before going to the coding. Even he will design that software, you can say, on the paper, and then produce the paper to the business, show them like, what will be the application, how it will be behaving, what will be the interfaces, what will be all the UIs, what will be the databases and everything. He will design on paper, and then he will show that to the business science and technical team also. So once we'll get the design document, I was telling you that like, this will be SRS or sometime the FRD. Okay, what is the difference in that? The SRS is system requirement specification. So system is something, the functional and non-functional stuff. In the sense, if you are getting the system requirement specification, this will be actually, you have to figure out whatever the functional requirement you have, and then you can just say like, there will be some non-functional stuff also, like a security testing, the performance and everything. You have to exclude that for your scope, and put that in like, if you are creating the test plan, put all the non-functional stuff into your out of scope section. And if you are getting the FRD, so that is something like, that is overall in scope for you. So FRD is very specific to the functional requirement document specification, and this system SRS is very specific to the system, where we are calling the functional as well as the non-functional both. Okay. Okay. So, and as a part of this one, actually, the tech architect, they will create some low-level stuff also after the SRS or the FRD. They will create high-level design and low-level design. So high-level design will be like a kind of a very high-level information, or you can say high-level requirement on the application, and low-level will be like, suppose if we have small modules in the application, how it will interact, that kind of information that will be available to the low-level design document. As a part of coding, the development team is going to code the overall application, and then once the code, and this will be based on the HLD and then LLD. And then coding, once the coding is done, the QA team, they're going to do the testing, and this will be based on FRD. And suppose if you have integration testing, like small model if you have, and if you want to see how it is getting interacted, or it's like how the communication is happening between the modules and modules, that time you have to refer the low-level design document also. And we'll come back to again when we'll come to the V model with the SDLC. We'll explain that again, how we are going to do it, and then what document we are going to define. Okay. The deployment, so once the testing is done, it will go to the production, and there will be one more section, that is warranty. Not always, but most of the companies, they are now introducing one more phase, that is a warranty. Like suppose the application is deployed to the production, and after that they are providing some duration as a warranty to the client, like suppose 2 weeks or the 3 weeks of the time. During that time, anything is broken into the production, they will take care of that. Technical team is going to take care of that. There won't be any separate estimations or planning for that. They will just come back to their code, fix it, and for you as a QA also, you are going to get like suppose any issues on the production, you are going to retest it, and then it will go to the UAT, and then with the patch or the fix will be deployed to the production again if anything is broken. That we call as a warranty. Okay, so this SDLC I had mentioned, this is the overall process where everybody is included. Like from here you will get the technical team, QA, and then management and everybody, but I'm now going to be very specific where I'm saying STLC, that is software testing life cycle. So similar to the SDLC, so SDLC is something, the application development, that will include the testing also, but that STLC will be very specific to the testing. What will be your activity for each and every phases that we will have into our STLC. Okay, so first we had discussion that it will be requirement analysis, and I had told you that during this phase actually we are going to review BRD and FRD and find the gap between two, if anything, and at the same time we have to create RTM also. That's the requirement traceability matrix. Okay, and then how it will look like, the requirement traceability matrix. I will open one of the template here. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, if you can see my screen, this Excel sheet I'm sharing, let me know if you can see it. Let me just share this one also. Okay, yeah. Now you can see that. Okay, so suppose there is an application, I'm just putting my application name here. Okay, my app suppose. So this is the two column we have. One is for the ID and one for the description, where we are going to put the business requirement, the requirement what we receive from the business, and that is created by the business analyst or system analyst. The both is same actually. And this is the FRD and FRD description. Here you have the FRD requirement number, and then here it is description. So if you see this carefully, if you see this, we had a requirement in the BRD that was a requirement number 5 that is actually not available on the FRD, and that's why you don't have the test cases or the test scenarios. Why you don't have the test case or test scenarios? Because you are going to create your test cases based on the FRD, not based on the BRD. That's why you have not created anything. So it seems this is a gap. Okay, this is a gap. And then you need to talk to the system analyst and then technical team again who created the FRD and BRD, and let them fix it. Either they will remove it if it is not required, or they will add the function requirement also here so that you can write the test cases. In this case, if you see here, even sometime it will happen, the technical team might be, suppose they already developed one of the banking tool for for the different bank, and they had some additional features there. But now this client actually they don't want some of the features, but technical team added from them, from their side actually, and that is also wrong. Okay, it is not something, oh, I am providing something extra to you. No, whatever the business is saying to the technical team, they have to build it. They cannot build anything extra there. So if suppose there is no requirement for the, I'm just saying like, suppose for the requirement number 10 here, but this is something the technical team added there, and you already wrote the test cases or test scenarios for that to test it. But this is also wrong. You need to talk to the system analyst, and if it is required actually, let them add into the BRD, and if it is not required, then ask your technical team to remove it and update the FRD and get the updated one. So once everything is fixed, your task is done, you can say. So once this gap is fixed, whatever the gap you have, your task is done. Okay, so this is called the requirement traceability matrix, and this is very important. You are going to create it whenever you are going to get the requirement. Okay, so coming back to again the STLC, after the requirement, what we are going to have, we are going to have the test planning. Okay, and where I had mentioned we have to create test plan, and then I had mentioned some of the content there. I think I can open the last session what we had listed there. Yeah, if you can see this. So I had mentioned that two activity there. One is the test planning and test estimation also. These two are actually dependent, because until and unless you have the estimation for something, like suppose if you have 1 year of the project, okay, the overall project, and then your testing phase is for the 3 or 4 months just to do the testing. Out of that box actually you will do some test case designing, test case test planning, requirement analysis and all. But how you are going to decide how much time you are going to take to test a particular application, or to achieve the particular date, how many resources you need. Okay, and then for those resources, how much budget you are going to charge to the client or to the project, that will come from the test estimation. So you have to create the test estimation also, and then you have to create the test plan in the parallel, so that you can put the dates there, what date we are going to start for any of the activity, when you are going to complete it, and when, how many resources will be there, and everything you can plan on that. So just I mentioned that one stuff there, only the test planning last time, that for the test planning it will be actually a Word document that will tell you what we are going to test, when we are going to test, and how we are going to test. It means what we are going to test in the sense, you can say what is the project description, what is actually, suppose if it is an enhancement project or it is a fresh project. So fresh project will be something, you can say there was nothing available to do such kind of transactions. Now they are building a new tool to do such kind of transaction. So currently there is nothing there. Now in the future they are planning to have something to do particular transactions or to do some of the process. That will be your current and future phase in case of the new project. In enhancement, you can say there is an application available, but certain functionalities are not there, and now they are planning to have it into automated feature or like a new feature like that. That will be, again, you have to put as a current phase and then future phase for the particular project. In scope, I had mentioned that whatever you have in scope for you, all the functionalities, whatever you have mentioned on the FRD, everything you have to mention on the in scope section. Out of section, sometimes you can say whatever you have into your in scope. Out of that, everything is out of scope for that. But certain things will happen is like, whenever you have the system requirement specification, especially in that case, you will get some kind of like, the non-functional stuff also, like the load, okay, the performance, the server, okay. Like suppose if you have some other application, downstream application, or the upstream application actually, in that case also there will be some functionality that actually might be the The old application you're not going to test. Whatever the new you have, you're going to test. So everything you have to mention here into the out of scope section so that they can understand what you're not going to test. Okay, and then this input criteria is also very important in entry and then exit criteria. This is something like, for each and every phase there will be certain stuff that you have to complete to move to the next phase. Like suppose this phase, until and unless you are doing all the review on the BRD, FRD, finding the gap, creating the RTM, until this phase is done, you are not going to start with your test planning, because now you have to even discuss this, whatever the gaps you have, and see if what will be actually for your scope and what will be actually for auto scope. Suppose if you had kind of this one and they are saying, oh, now this is auto scope for you because there is no requirement from the business. At the same time, you can just put those sections here. So it means there are dependency. Whenever you are moving to the next phase, there will be a dependency on the previous phase until and unless you are completing the previous phase and creating or delivering some of the stuff there, you cannot move to the further phase like test planning. So these are the stuff I had mentioned: entry criteria, exit criteria, what will be the trainings, tools, and what assumptions we are going to make, test strategy also, how we are going to test it, the application, test schedule also, when we are going to start each and every phases on the STLC, and when we are going to complete. Whatever the deliverables we are going to have, everything we have to mention and provide the end date when you are going to deliver it. How it will be like, the defect management, approver, test data, environment, everything we have to mention on the test planning. This was our second, you can say, phase into the STLC. So let me know if you have any question, and I'm moving further to the.
Hi Ahmed, this is Sheikh here, and I have one question about the estimation part. That in the estimation, if you go the cost, it will be decided by the project manager, that how much the overall project cost, and as a QA team, you're talking about the estimation as an independent vendor. If you give any services to the company as an independent vendor for the testing, that's where we estimate the cost.
Yeah. So each and every project, suppose if you are building an application for the Bank of America, still suppose, and you are an employee within the Bank of America, still there will be an estimation required. You cannot say you are a vendor, then only you are going to estimate it. Why? Because suppose I was telling you that there will be a business team, and it will be their wish, their requirement to build such kind of application or build some kind of functionality. Okay, so they already have the approved budget. That's why they are starting now, and that's why they are discussing everything to the team. They have certain budget, but at the same time there will be a separate budget for the testing, there will be a separate budget for the development. Everything will come from the project, but you need to tell the project manager and then to the business also how much budget you need for your QA point of view.
So these these activities will be done by the manager, but not the QAs, right?
I'm just explaining the phases. You need to be aware, what will be all the because whatever even I am discussing here as a QA. So suppose I discuss the SDLC also. So I'm not focusing on the testing, because you need to be aware about the SDLC, the overall. Okay. At the same time, you need to be aware about the STLC also. Estimation, it will be a part of your it will be activity for your test lead, who will do the estimation and all. But you should be aware how he is going to do it. And you know what? If you are going for the interview, actually, they will not just think you just have a 1 year experience or 2 years of experience as a QA. They are going to ask you everything theoretically. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to second thing we have during the test planning, that is the estimation. Okay. There are many techniques actually to do the estimation. Okay, I am going to put, and many of the companies, they are using the very generic test estimation. They have their own template and they are doing that kind of estimation using that template only. Okay, they're not following any of the standard estimation technique, you can say. So I'm just explaining one of the very generic estimation, and then to explain you, if you are going to do any kind of explanation, there is no standard process. If it is a standard process, they will provide you some information on that. If it is not there and someone is asking you to do some estimation, like even the estimation will be for your task also. So suppose your test lead is estimating something. He will come to you also saying that, oh, so how many test scenarios do you have? So you're going to tell, okay, I have 100 test scenarios. So how many test cases now you are thinking about that? You can say, I'm just thinking like, maybe I'm going to create the 500 test cases. That will also come based on your experience and doing some of the analysis on the requirement. Then only you can tell that. Okay, just like when you have a look on your test scenarios, then only you can tell your test lead that I'm going to write 500 test cases. And again he will ask, okay, so now suppose if you have 500 test cases, okay, and now you have only suppose 2 members in the team. How many time, like suppose if I am giving you like 250 test cases, how much time you are going to take, so that I can tell the management that you are going to execute 250 test cases in these many days. So again, the estimation is required, it seems. Okay, he will do the estimation, but still you have to also tell, and how you are going to tell, and I will come to that point. Okay, so whenever you get any kind of test scenarios, okay, the first step for you, okay, to find the number of test cases. This will be your first task if you are going to estimate something based on the test scenarios. These test scenarios will come from your the requirement. Based on the requirement, you are going to create the test scenarios first of all, and then based on that you are going to find out how many number of test cases you are going to write. Okay, so if you have this number of test cases, what you are going to test, what you are going to do, next step for you, next step will be for you is actually identify complex, medium and low complexity test cases. Why I am saying you have to do this complex, medium and low test cases? Because what is going to happen is, like, sometime it will happen if you have a very simple test case. Suppose you have 250 test cases, okay, and I am assuming that, like, suppose if you have 50 as a complex test case, and suppose 100 as a medium and 100 as a low complexity test cases. In that case, the low complex test cases will be very simple for you. Okay, suppose might be 4-step or 5-step, just to enter something, submit the a form or something like that. But the complex will be actually really complex. It will not be, you can say it will take more time. So everything what I am telling, to identify the test cases, it means I am trying to identify how much time you are going to take for each and every test cases. Okay, so suppose, just an example I am putting here. This is not a standard count or something. If you have, like, suppose 250 test cases, right? So suppose 250 test cases, okay, and now suppose you have 50 complex, okay, and then 100 medium, and then suppose 100 low. Okay, so now you have to think about, suppose if it is a complex test cases, and complex test cases, you just need to do your assumptions, your analysis on that. Based on the complex test cases, how much you can execute it. Okay, so suppose For example, suppose the complex, if you are executing per day as a 10 test cases, suppose, okay, per day, then it will be 5 days now, okay. And then suppose the medium one you have 100, and suppose if you are executing 20 per day, just assumption I am putting, then you are going to take another 5 days. And suppose this low complex test cases, you are going to execute suppose 30 test cases. So it will be somewhere around you can say 3.5. Okay, just I'm just putting. So just do it 4 days like that. There is nothing 3.5, and if more than 3 days, it means you're going to take 1 more days. Okay, so 4 days. So the total you have this 5 days. So based on that, you can estimate it. Okay, and based on that, so if someone is asking you to have saying that they have 1,000 test cases, okay, and then how much time you're going to take, you can even talk to your team members, your colleagues, and ask oh, if it is a complex one, this kind of scenarios, and it will come based on your actually experience also, how much time actually I am taking. Suppose if you are not a new, you executed some of the test cases and you saw, oh, this much very complex actually. Like suppose if you are completing any other transactions in your banking application like that, if you are transferring the money to someone, that you can consume as a time taking, because you have to add the account there, then put the amount, and then do the transaction, confirm it. At the same time, you want to see to the next account if it is transferred or not. Okay, if someone is asking you just to see if you are adding the account, it is working or not, maybe it will be a very simple task for you like that. Based on that, you can just think about how much time they are going to take, and based on that you can calculate the days. So what actually we are trying to achieve, actually we are trying to achieve one thing, that is actually man days. It means if suppose just like I calculated for 250, if you have 2500 test cases, we'll see if suppose one person is there, how many days the person is going to take to complete it. So suppose if it is 14, and then suppose 250, it is you can say 140 days for one person to execute 2500 test cases. I'm just multiplying by 10. In that case, if you have a window, okay, to complete that within 1 month or so, then you can just think about, oh, you have to complete 1 month, then one person will be executing actually everything in 140 days, and then you have to complete within the 30 days. In that case, actually we need 5 resources to do it like that, simply 150 140 by 30 days like that. Okay, that calculation you need, and this kind of calculation should be in your practice, just because this kind of calculations you are going to do, you should be having some analytical skill here, where you have to calculate something based on these numbers. You have 60 test cases to execute, and you can execute 20 test cases only, so how many days you are going to take? So you have to divide the 60 by 20 like that. So this kind of stuff you should be able to do it actually. This is very simple mathematics, but you should be able to do it actually. Let me know if you have any question on the estimation. So this way you can calculate the man hours, okay, or the man days you can say, and based on that you can decide how many resources you are going to take or have in the team to complete certain testing within the test execution window, if some time given, suppose given as a 30 days like that. Any question on this one? Clear here? Okay, if you don't have any question, I'm moving to the next phase, that is test design. Okay, first of all, the terminology we have, it is the phase we have, it is actually test design. Don't call this as a test case design, okay, or like this test design is actually a phase, and the activity we have under this one is test case creation. Okay, so never call this as a test case design. First of all, that is incorrect terminology. Okay, so test case creation, there will be certain techniques that we are going to discuss later, might be that will be used to how to write the test cases or not. I'm just discussing like the phases here. I will come back to again to there. Okay, after the test design, we are going to have the test execution. Okay, test execution I will discuss and then move. Test execution is something, whatever the test cases you are going to create. The test case, I'm coming back to the test case again if you are not clear about that. Test case will be something step by step action to test application based on the expectations, like based on the requirement you receive from the business. Like suppose if you have the FRD, what you are going to do, so suppose if they are saying you should be able to withdraw the money from the ATM, like that, just I'm putting the very generic because you guys are doing that, everybody is doing that. In that case, what is going to happen is your test case will be, once you go to your ATM machine, okay, you just need to click on the screen. Okay, it will ask you to insert your ATM card. Just put it, insert it. Okay, then it will ask you to put the PIN. You have to provide the PIN. Once it is done, you have to click on the action you're going to perform, like withdraw the money or deposit the money or whatever it is. You are going to click on that. So the expectation is, once you enter the card, the expectation from the system is it should be asking you to put the PIN there. If it is not asking, it means there is some issue with the system. Once you enter the the PIN there into the system, what is going to happen? It is going to ask you what action you are going to perform on that. So there are some action. For each and every action, there are some expectations. So suppose all this activity, if you are putting into an Excel sheet saying that enter the card, expectation is system is asking you to enter the PIN, then enter the PIN, system is asking you to select the action, and then select the action, it will ask you to like suppose if you are trying to withdraw the money, how much money you want to withdraw, then enter the money, and then it will go on for the money withdrawal or something. Okay, so these steps actually, this is called your test case. This would be very simple English where you are going to write steps and then expected stuff. So suppose anything you are expecting and not happening within the system, and then you can say the difference in the actual result from there and then expected result, that will be actually a defect for you, and that you are going to raise. So during the execution, what you are going to do, you are going to execute all your test cases, means perform all the action step by step and see if the system is working properly based on the test cases you have designed, based on the requirement, you can say. Okay, and once you get any differences on that, it will be defect reporting for you. Okay, so once you execute your test cases, you found some differences in actual system performance or functionality and the expected functionality. Based on that, you're going to raise the defect, and once you raise the defect, you are going to retest it and then get it fixed. Get it fixed from the development team and retest it and close it. Okay, and there will be some more thing after during this execution actually, that is test cycle. Okay, that will be also there. Even I missed one more step here, that is very specific to the, if you are using any kind of tool like ALM or something, in that case you are going to have one more phase, not the standard phase, but you can say still I am mentioning here, that's something like the environment setup. Okay, in this case, whatever the test cases you have, you actually upload these test cases in some of the tool. I will explain you what is the ALM, how we are going to work on that later stage actually. So there is a ALM tool where you are actually going to put your test cases, whatever you have written to the Excel sheet, so that there only you can execute it, pass it, and if it is any discrepancies you get, then you can report the defect there itself. Okay. So before even going to the execution, you have to set up that environment, upload all the test cases there, put the requirement even there. Okay. So that you can execute it. So that's I'm inserting here. That's not a standard, and if you Google it, you will never get it, but I'm inserting here. There. Okay, the test cycle. So once you are done with your test cycle and everything, there will be a final testing and then deployment. Okay, and after that, like final testing in the sense, if the regression testing is required, or there will be a UAT testing also, that is user acceptance testing, that will be performed by the system analyst, and then they will deploy the code into the production. Once the code is deployed into the production, what we are going to do, we have certain post deployment activity that is actually we are going to have on certain analysis like defect analysis. Okay, and then retrospect also. So suppose if once you deploy the code into the production, what is going to happen is there will be certain defect that is raised by you, certain defect that will be raised by a UAT team. Okay, you have to do the analysis why this defect got occurred into the system, in the sense suppose there was a major code issues all the time, major environment issues all the time, or there was some data that was actually incorrect, or that was coming from the source or something. Because of that, the defect was happening. You have to do this analysis so that you can suggest, or the project management, they can think about what kind of issues you had actually, and then in the future releases they can avoid it. Like suppose if you have had any kind of environment issues, they can take care of that in the next phase, in next release, you can say next project or something. Retrospect, there is a meeting actually that will be organized by the management, where they are going to mention what we did actually good during the project and what we did bad, or you can say wrong. Based on that, they are going to create a document they call as a lesson learned document. Okay, and then that will be also used for the improvement purpose, like for the future release, where they can think about where they need the improvement and all. So let me know if you have any question on the STLC first of all. Any question on the STLC, software testing life cycle? We'll go one by one for each and every phases. We will discuss everything again, just to understand what are the phases we have. Just remember it all the time, and what is the major task under that, like what I mentioned here. Like here we have the setup, and then this is something test case, you can say test case execution, whatever the test cases you had completed. Just putting for the reference, and then any issues you are going to report, that is the defect report. And then test cycle also, whatever the execution you did, sometimes the test cycle is also required. I will give you the example why the test cycle is required, when we can say no test cycle is required, and we can move to the test regression testing or something that we'll discuss later. Just to understand that these are the phases we have. Let me know if you remember this, if you have any question on this one until here. No question? Okay, if you don't have any question, then I will move to the next topic we have.